Now this part shines. This is more important. This is the element that people look at. Grammar also is telling me that there are more drawbacks. So you may remember this if you're old enough, or if you're young, probably you have read this maybe in history books or books about the economy, because the majority of its effects will be in economy. Globalization, that's what I'm talking about. Globalization means you can have access to any product, almost, of course. Nothing is perfect and 100% here. You have access to any product produced anywhere on this planet. For instance, if you wish to have Italian-made pasta, there will be a brand, completely Italian, produced in Italy, and will be transported, shipped, I don't know, with cargo containers, and they will be delivered at your local supermarket. That is not the entire definition of globalization, but that's the economic aspect of it. So if you wish to have access to Italian, locally produced goods, you have. You have the chance now. That is also the same. If in your neighborhood you produce something, you can export it to another country, to another continent, oceans apart, and you can do that. Because of this, we now have an essay at IELTS that concentrates on this very topic. It's an important topic. Let's read and analyze and see what it has to offer. Welcome to IELTS Juice. We have an essay to score and assess. The rubric says, some consumers are increasingly choosing to buy goods that are produced in their local area rather than imported goods. Let's break it down. This is kind of a reverse of what I just told you. And because of that, we see this grammar, present continuous. They are choosing. So it's a relatively new trend. You can point at the beginning of it. You're focusing on this element. This wasn't the norm. If it were the norm, we would be using simple, present simple tense. But this grammar is telling us that this is temporary, something that is short-lived. What is it? It's that people buy locally produced goods. So instead of buying meat from a South American country, they prefer the meat that is produced 10 kilometers away from their city. That's one idea. If they prefer vegetables or they're vegetarians, the farmers who grow that type of vegetable in another city or in another location, but it's still in the same region as they live, is more preferable than some packaged vegetable imported from another country. I made some examples about food stuff. You can come up with artworks. You can come up with handmade, handcrafted items or any other product. Remember, we're talking about goods. So it has to be a physical object that is imported, shipped to your local community. It can be a region or country, whatever, doesn't matter. We just refer to everything as your local area. One last thing, this is a trend. This that people are forgetting, getting away from globalization, and they prefer their own locally grown food stuff or products or locally manufactured products, is a temporary trend, and this trend is increasing. So this year was more than the previous year. Previous year was more than the year before that. I want you to see these little elements here because they will affect how you approach this topic. We have two questions. What are the reasons for this? All right, we need to come up with reasons, plural, at least two reasons we need. And this is a trend. So what caused, or let me say, what elements caused this trend? 2, 3, whatever. Please think about those causes. And the second question, it's a yes/no question. Is it a positive or negative trend? Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Don't say it depends and it happens maybe in some cases. Yes, that's a correct, in reality, response. That's a really, really correct response. In reality, many things depend on many things. But this is IELTS. We must be smart. We cannot write all the elements and explore all areas in 40 minutes. We don't have the time, we don't have the knowledge, and we are operating under stress, and writing is the third skill. We have already passed listening and reading. 2 and something hours we have been under exam situation. So it's very important that we focus on what the question wants. The question is a yes/no question. Is it a positive or a negative trend? Decide and choose based on that and follow. Support it and focus on that. If it's positive, support it. If it's negative, support it and support it well. Depending on how you support it, you will get your desired score. We have a sample. Let's look at it. In recent years, there has been a growing trend among consumers to purchase locally produced goods rather than imported ones. It's a very good paraphrase of the rubric. It touches on those subtle elements I said. Recent years, it's temporary. There has been a growing trend increasingly. These are beautiful paraphrased elements that I would like you to also see and follow. This shift in consumer behavior, it's a shift, can be caused by several factors. In the introduction, this is good. We say several factors. Several is quite a lot. That's what IELTS expects us to say. If I were the writer, I would change this. You know, it's easier to be more objective here. Instead of saying some factors, a lot of factors, many factors, several factors, and at the same time thinking to ourselves, oh, good, we are actually showing off our range of vocabulary. We may get some improvement in our vocabulary, but our coherence and cohesion is going to suffer. I would choose a better example here, like 2 main factors, 3 essential factors. Essential, to our opinion, of course, it's very subjective and nobody can say anything. It's our opinion. Our opinion is that there are 3 essential factors that contributed to this trend. That's our opinion, and these are 3. There might be 45 different factors. Okay, we chose 3. We believe these 3 are more important. We have the right to do so. I want you to be as objective as you can. For a reader, it will help us to follow the other body paragraphs, to know how many items to read. When we say several, I really don't know. Are we talking about 3, 4, 5, 12 factors? I don't know. However, while this trend offers certain benefits, it also has some drawbacks. Okay, Look at the vocabulary use here. This trend offers certain benefits. Certain is going to limit. There are like a number of benefits, and we know how many, and it's certain and limited. But there are some drawbacks. Some is not that limited. So I feel vocabulary is telling me drawbacks are more than benefits. Grammar also is telling me that drawbacks are more than benefits. Look, while this trend offers certain benefits, that's the background, it also has some drawbacks. Now this part shines. This is more important. This is the element that people look at. Grammar also is telling me that there are more drawbacks. I like the introduction, generally speaking, very good control over sentences and vocabulary. That's the writer has some skills, for sure. The first sentence is an attention grabber. It's a paraphrase of the rubric. Then we have a connector. The connector is also okay, and the connector focuses on the first question, and the second question is addressed here. And I understand. I can read this and believe there are more drawbacks than benefits. Let's read the body paragraphs. One reason. So in this body paragraph, we're going to focus on the first reason. Why people prefer local products is the increasing awareness of environmental issues. Okay, environmental issues and raising awareness. Imported goods often have a larger carbon footprint due to the transportation involved. Carbon footprint is a very good word, collocation. Whereas locally produced items are considered more eco-friendly. Additionally, eco-friendly. Buying local supports the regional economy, creating jobs and keeping money within the community, which is particularly beneficial in times of economic uncertainty. And this is still, this meaning of time, when you pluralize time, the meaning changes. Here is used accurately. In times means in eras, in time frames. So there are, imagine periods of time. I love this paragraph. We talked about the environmental issues of transporting goods, which is accurate. You have to spend a lot of diesel fuel and money to ship products from one corner of the world to the other corner. If you buy locally, then this is eliminated. Another factor driving this trend is the desire for fresh and high quality products. I love it. So another factor is that fresh products can be found locally. Many consumers believe that local goods, especially food products, are fresher and more nutritious since they do not require long transportation time. Correct? This perception of higher quality can be a significant motivation for people to choose locally. Choose local over imported goods. In some contexts, this might be okay, but here I prefer choose locally over imported goods. This is very overgeneralized. I do not see any example here. I wish we could at least talk about, for example, fish. Let's just say Norway is very good at producing salmon, all right? But it's fish, and the meat is very delicate. It's hard to export and maintain it, maintain its freshness, its value. You have to freeze the fish, and it might affect the quality, the freshness. For what? You want to consume Norwegian salmon in South Africa 2 weeks later. Well, it is possible, technically speaking, but there is a lot of cost and effort. So there are a lot of cost and effort involved. I wish we had that one sentence as an example, because this is rather too generic. Despite these aspects, all right, so in the first 2 body paragraphs, we focused on answering the first question, which is good. We addressed it. We said 2 reasons. We didn't go very deep, but still, good paragraphs. This one is for the second question. Despite these aspects, there are also potential negative effects. All right. Potential negative effects. Let's read. And we are saying despite these aspects, we're framing the reasons as positive, which is a little bit hard to connect. We talked about the reasons why we have that, and we are framing them as the opposite of the negative effects. So we are painting them as positive things. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Reasons are different from something being positive and negative. The reasons for something to see might not always be the correct approach. Here, it's okay. Maybe one sentence to just explain how these reasons can be seen as a positive trend is needed either here or in these 2 paragraphs. We had one sentence to show that this trend is actually is positive. We did say something like they are fresh and they're eco-friendly and both of them are good, but we need to mention that this is a positive feature. Let's move on to this negative aspect. There are also potential negative effects, plural. For one, local products can sometimes be more expensive than imported ones due to smaller production scales and limited resources. Correct? Can you give us one example? The price difference may limit consumer choices, particularly for those with lower incomes. Very good. Example, please. Additionally, the focus on local goods might lead to a narrower variety of products available in the market. I need a comma here. Potentially reducing consumer options, because this is a short form of relative clause. Okay, I like this. However, hold on a minute. We only say the second negative aspect. We didn't get the chance to add another supporting sentence. So we just say, and then that's it. No development, no examples. Every single idea we say deserves our love, our support, and our examples from our own lives, even from things that we have experienced in life. Experiences do not necessarily mean that you yourself have been the main actor of it. You could watch a documentary on something. You could have read something about it or Googled something about this, and you acquired the knowledge from somebody else's experience. Either way, we need a proper example after this or more details. When we say price, maybe we can say, let's see, if you import an apple from a reputable international company, the apple has an international price. But if you ask a local farmer, the local farmer says, yes, but We will send it to you, but the cost of the transportation, because it's just one order and it's just for you, would be this many, and it would be like 1.5 times more than the international price. So that bit of example or that bit of detail would have enriched this second body paragraph. In conclusion, while the trend of buying locally produced goods is caused by environmental concerns and the desire to support local economies, which are not the positive effects, these are the reasons why it is happening, it may also have negative consequences, such as higher costs and reduced product variety. Overall, this trend is generally non-beneficial. Okay, non-beneficial is a very strong term. I wouldn't have used it. And it's 261 words. Very economical, a little scary, a little risky, but 200, we needed 250 and we have 261, so this is enough. Let's check our band descriptors. Okay. So elements that I liked. The organization was sequential. Towards the end, in the conclusion, you could see that we mentioned the two causes and we mentioned the two negative elements, and we wrapped everything up. So the organization of information was sequential, and the logic was there because we first addressed the first question and second we addressed the second question. I am also very happy with task response because we gave two reasons, and we also talked about the negative effects. That has to be all the elements that IELTS wants. The thing that I didn't like was overgeneralizing the main ideas that we mentioned. We didn't say any examples, no details. Because we didn't come up with many details and examples, our range of vocabulary remained at sufficient. So we had good words related to the topic, but not a wider range. And I picked one or two errors in, generally, they did not affect communication, but it's just a very small element. For basically a 7 at vocabulary, your words should just be as healthy as you can write them without major errors. Going back to coherence and cohesion, I didn't have any issue with referencing, but my issue was with discourse markers. Not an issue. It could be better, softer. We had however and while both in one sentence. Not an error, but we have a little bit overuse of discourse markers. And what I didn't see was the identity of some sentences that I wanted to see. So every topic sentence should have, in our case, at least two supporting sentences, and those major supporting sentences need some minor supporting sentences. We didn't have that hierarchy in 100%, not everywhere. There were examples you can say, hey, yeah, in this paragraph it's like this, there is this and that sentence and the other sentence. Yes, in some cases there is, but in 100% of the cases, no. Grammar, I like the grammar, the range, very good control over the sentences. I'm happy with, especially with some of the advanced grammatical structures that I saw. This is bordering 7, really bordering 7, but task response and vocabulary, they're the areas that we need to improve. And the way to improve them both is to come up with proper supporting sentences for each of the main ideas we mentioned. That would help us with better vocabulary, healthier vocabulary, good collocations, things that we know, and it would help us probably get all these elements 8 or hopefully 9. If you wish to see other videos like this, you know where to click, and I hope next time I'll be assessing your task 1s or task 2s. So take care.